I like making money, but I don't like mowing the lawn.
Welcome, world, to another episode of Nobody's a Nobody podcast with me, Mike McVey. This episode, we will be featuring my daughter, Marideth McVey. And because of that, I will not be sharing any personal info of contact or whatnot. We will also be having the musical guest that Jarvix will feature in his Hot Dog Song of the Week, whose name is Isaac McClung. If you enjoy listening to this show, please subscribe to whichever podcast of your choice and leave us a rating if you would. You can also leave us a review at RateThisPodcast.com/nobody. We have a review right here from the former Munchkin Matcher, who says, Mike is correct that each person has a story. The first episode was enlightening, entertaining, informative, and humorous. I look forward to more episodes. And former Munchkin Maker, we're looking forward to having you listen. This week's business shout out is to every comic book and gaming store that is anywhere near where you live. I very much enjoy comics and I enjoy playing games, and these stores get hit a little bit harder than some. Even before the pandemic, they had a harder time making sales because it's just a dying industry in so many different ways. But comic books and graphic novels and games help teach us different fundamentals. In fact, my daughter mostly learned how to read by reading comic books and graphic novels to get her interested in other stories. Just recently, Audible has launched The Sandman by Neil Gaiman as an audiobook. And The Sandman is one of the most amazing graphic novels that have ever been put together. It's a whole collection, 10 or 11 volumes. And I strongly recommend looking at the artwork and the type of narrative that gets created through graphic novels, comic books, and the such. And then gaming as a whole, it teaches people how to follow rules, how to adapt to situations they might not be prepared to. So whatever your local comic book and gaming store is, please go ahead and support them. Marideth McVey is my daughter. I love her very much. And for no other reason than she's my daughter is one of the reasons why I find her fascinating. I completely always am intrigued to see how she views the world, because the way that her mother and I have raised her, it's always interesting to see what we're turning out. Now, she's 14 years old, so there's going to be a little bit different style interview. I'm not going to ask those hard-hitting questions. Oh, wait, I normally don't ask hard-hitting questions. But it's kind of interesting to see the same things that plague us as adults she talks about, and things being able to hang out with friends, being able to be a part of communal type events, and doing silly things just like watching TV, playing on our phone. It's something that is not limited to just being a child or just being an adult. It's just part of our life. And we try to navigate some things, and I hope you enjoy. We're going to jump right in as we always do. Nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit. All right. So, Marideth, what makes you you?
That's kind of hard to answer. Well, I guess what makes me me is everything that I like, and the people that surround me, and how I grew up.
Which of the pets is your favorite?
I kind of have to say Honey, because she's a dog. It's kind of hard to compare a cat that doesn't really act much like a dog and a dog.
What's the best part about having a dog?
I think it's that they don't. For Honey specifically, it's that she doesn't get mad at me if I like hug her or just like pet her whenever she didn't expect it. Unlike the cats.
The cats usually get upset at you when you try to pet on them?
Well, sometimes they do, but like Honey, it's almost never. Well, actually, I don't think she's ever gotten mad about it, because she's just that type of dog, apparently.
Yeah. So what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I like to spend time with friends and playing on my phone, watch TV, read books in a while, and I also I don't know, I don't really think about it much.
You don't think about what you like to do very much?
I know it's kind of weird.
What do you not like to do?
I don't like going to having to do more exercise than I want to do, like in PE.
You haven't had to do that for a couple of years, huh?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something that I don't like to do, and I can't think of anything that specific, because sometimes I say I don't like doing things, but I don't actually always mean it.
Oh, I know.
I don't really like to mow the lawn.
You don't like mowing the lawn?
No.
Okay, so you probably don't like making the money that comes with it.
I like making money, but I don't like mowing the lawn.
What do you wish you could get paid for?
Sleeping.
Sleeping?
Yeah, then I might actually, sleeping.
Then you might actually do it?
Basically. Though I'd probably do it even if I wasn't getting paid for it. But it'd be nice to be paid for getting paid for sleeping.
What else would you like to get paid for?
Being myself.
Being yourself?
Yeah, then I'd get a lot of money, unless it was like a penny a day. Then again, that would still be a lot of money depending on how long I live.
So people should just pay you for you being you?
Definitely.
So how old are you now?
14, though it's still kind of hard to believe it. For some reason, I'm not having the same trouble to say that I'm 14 whenever I was 13. I kept trying to say that I was 12. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah?
Like the first few days of being 14, I kept thinking that I was 13, but now I just know I'm 14, and it's weird.
What's weird about it?
I don't know. It's just like a whole year of me being 13, I thought I was 12. Like, how does that work?
So what have you learned from the year of being 13 to your first month and a half of being 14?
Well, I learned stuff in school.
What did you learn in school?
Algebra, and I learned history I didn't know about until now. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of that. There was one president. I don't remember his name. I think it was Thomas something. Not Thomas Jefferson. Or was it Thomas Jefferson?
What was the thing you learned about him?
That he was like a party person, apparently.
A party person?
Yeah, like they actually had a big thing of cheese at one point after he got elected, I think. And like they all had it, and it was really, I don't remember many of the specifics, but I was like, huh. They're going to replace him on one of the dollar bills with she's really cool, and she was with, I'm trying to remember her name.
Harriet Tubman?
No. She was like, she was known for the baby on her back. Like, she's also Indian.
Sacagawea?
Sacagawea.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that the guy said, that we've been pronouncing it wrong for like years. It's Sacagawea. At some point, they're planning on replacing that president with her because he did a lot of bad things.
Was that Thomas Jefferson?
Possibly. I know it was a Thomas.
It must have been kind of difficult because you haven't been in a classroom since March, which is now, at this time, 5 months ago.
Weird.
How does that feel, having been home for the past 5 months?
Honestly, not as good as I would like it to be.
Why not?
Because I'd prefer to be at school if I could hang out with my friends, but that's not really the best idea. So,
Yeah. So if your friends weren't there, would you rather be home or at school?
at home, I guess.
At home, you guess?
I guess.
So, what do you miss most about hanging out with your friends?
Being able to hug them.
Yeah.
Hugging a dog is nice, and hugging my parents is nice, and hugging family is nice, but like it's not the same as hugging one of your best friends and being like, hey, how was your summer? Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
And it just messing it around a little bit with them. So yeah.
Yeah, hugging's important, huh?
Especially to me, because I feel like I gain energy from those hugs.
I can think of a couple of your friends who probably feel like you take their energy with your hugs.
Yeah.
So, have you gotten to talk to your friends at all in the past 5 months?
Yeah, a little bit. I've texted some of my friends, and one of them finally responded after a month. Like, I was like, okay then.
Do you connect with them any other way other than texting?
I've called Avery's called me a couple of times, and we also played a game while we were on call. Like, we're in a lot of the same fandom groups, so we cropped images, and you had to try and guess what the two characters were from and who they were.
So what's a fandom group?
So let's say, for example, if someone is really interested in Wicked, the musical.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's a fandom that, okay, it's a group of people who like the same thing, who, the same type of, like, either book or musical or whatever, and they make fan art of it, and they make fan theories, fan fiction, a lot of things. They might say these two characters would totally be a good couple. And other people in that fandom may argue with that. And there's also toxic parts of the fandom which I try to avoid because, as I said, toxic. And there's a toxic part of almost every fandom. So,
what are some of the fandoms you're in?
Well, I'm in the Harry Potter fandom. I am in the Undertale fandom. I am in some anime fandoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also in a couple of other game fandoms that are really cool. Yeah, that's basically sums it all up.
So I think most of us know who Harry Potter is, but what's Undertale?
It is a game that it is really deep. Some people might not like it as much as others, but it's hit really deep for me whenever I first saw the ending of it, and it's a game about a human who fell underground in this land of monsters who are also trapped underground. And so this human kid just makes friends and battles monsters the whole way through, or if you choose to, kills monsters. And it's a really good game.
What's your favorite part about it?
I would have to say my favorite part would be the ending of the pacifist route, and because it made me cry the first time I saw it. because the
Well, we don't want to give
Yeah.
spoilers.
it was just sad, a little bit sad and happy at the same time.
Okay.
And it makes me feel emotions.
Good emotions or bad emotions?
Yes.
Okay. So what else do you like to do during the pandemic?
Eat food.
Eat food? You like eating
Yeah.
food?
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but I like eating food.
What kind of food do you like the most?
It's kind of hard because sometimes I really want a savory food, and there's no savory foods that I can snack on in the house, and then sometimes I want a sweet food, and there's nothing sweet I want that's in the house. And
Have you thought about maybe the next time your dad goes grocery shopping, you go with him so you could pick out that savory and sweet food?
also not really.
So other than eating food, did you do anything else at all during the pandemic? Are you doing anything else in the pandemic?
Nothing really. I mean, like watching TV and playing on my phone and other stuff, I guess. Sleeping. Walking the dog. That's basic. Though I'm pretty sure I'd do all of that even if it wasn't a pandemic.
True.
Yeah. Honestly, nothing that I wouldn't do if it wasn't a pandemic, other than asking you to like hang out with Madeline or something.
Yeah.
Or going to church or something physically. And so
Is there another way to do church without being there physically?
yes, through Zoom, we have meetings on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Sundays, though I usually sleep through the Sunday ones somehow. And it's not exactly the same as it would be if I was actually there, but it's close enough because I get to see some of their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, they just don't feel like showing their face at all, which I can understand. But there's some people that, I'm not going to say any names, but there are some people that just don't have the face cam on or have the microphone on, so you don't hear their voice or what they look or see what they look like right now, and they don't even type in the chat, so they're just like a ghost.
Does that bother you?
Not really, because it's not like they're disrupting the service. It's just as long as they're like not doing it, like not disrupting anything, I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Are you looking forward to school?
A little bit, because I'm curious to see how they'll do it, like because online, since I'm not going physically. I'm curious to see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, because you're doing the virtual school, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
I'm okay with it. I'm not getting it. I'm not being put into danger by anything, and it's. I'd prefer to be with my friends, though I'm pretty sure some of my friends would probably prefer the online school as well. I bet that some of them are also doing the online school as well, because I remember one of the girls, whenever we had to go physically to get some of the stuff, they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's another person who's doing the online thing."
Was that kind of nice to see that there's some other people doing it?
Yeah. It makes me feel a tiny bit better, but it's still not as nice as being there with my friends, but
yeah,
I'd still prefer this over getting me or my friends in danger.
Do you think it would be if, well, I mean, you're always going to have that danger component, but would you rather be at home where you don't see your friends at all, or be in a place where you could see your friends but you couldn't touch or have any impact?
Being in a place where I could see my friends but not touch them, because then at least I can see them, like, in person, and it would just be nice. Because I wouldn't, it depends on where the place is, that's all, because as long as it's not, like, a tight room with multiple people in it, then, and yeah.
Sorry. So you don't have to be sorry. I'm asking you. Does being a freshman, does that play into anything at all, or is it just mostly the friends thing?
I don't care about that. I'm a freshman. I even forgot I was a freshman until this point. I keep forgetting until I'm like, wait, I'm in high school now. It's like a hard. Part of me still thinks that I'm going to be in 8th grade. Yeah. Kind of similar to how when I thought I was still 12 whenever I was 13.
Yeah, well, leaving during spring break, and it makes it kind of difficult. So what do you think about doing homework online? So you had a little bit of practice with that during the spring.
It might be easier, but I think it might be easier. But I'm not sure yet, but I think it's going to be a tiny bit easier. Because something about being online makes it seem like it's going to be easier. But at the same time, I'm worried it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm pretty sure kids have been doing it before this even happened, so if they can do it, I can probably do it too. So, I don't really care about it.
Okay. What are some of your biggest fears right now?
Dying before I see my friends again. That my friends will have completely changed before I see them again and won't want to be my friend. Though I'm pretty sure that's a thought that I've had even before now. Getting the what do you call it? Getting COVID?
Pandemic?
Getting the pandemic.
Getting infected of COVID.
Getting infected.
Okay.
And getting infected. Because that's just scary in itself. Like, I remember you saying at one point that whenever you felt like even like the slightest bit of anything, you would be worried about, does this mean that I'm sick? Will I have to stay home from work because of this? Sometimes I get a little worried about that, other than the part about staying home, because I'll do that anyways. Because if it's something is even the slightest bit, like, off from my normal self, I'm like, does this mean that I'm going to get COVID? Does that mean I'm going to have to go to a hospital for something? Or am I going to be quarantined, like, in my room? And the only thing that I can see is, like, my dog and possibly mine. So.
It scares you to be separated even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My room's a nice place for me, but I said for me.
I know what you said.
But I don't think I'd like to be confined in it for more than a day.
What are some of your biggest joys since March?
Being able to have good food, even though all of this is happening. Having a dog really makes this a lot better because she's so sweet, and And it's nice that, and I'm glad that I'm with you guys and not stuck by myself, because I feel like that would be worse, because I need some interaction with people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much, because it's only 2 other people really, and but
And it's your parents too.
yeah, but it's better than nothing. And
Are there any benefits to being home so much, other than your dog and parents and food?
well, I sleep in a tiny bit more.
That is true.
And I'd probably watch TV more than I would have if we weren't in this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really many benefits I can really think of, but
Okay. What's some of the food that's still good quality that you like that you're getting during the pandemic?
the cake that I had for my birthday was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The
And
Walmart cake?
yeah, I know it's a Walmart cake, but it's still chocolate, okay? And there's also pizza. Pizza's always good. It's wrong. You must have done something really wrong if you messed up pizza. And I'm pretty sure, for me, most of the things we're eating are pretty good quality that they would have been even if we weren't in the pandemic. Maybe a tiny bit less, or maybe even a tiny bit more, but I didn't really notice any difference.
So before the pandemic, your mom was always the one who took care of meals. Now your dad is taking care of most of the meals. Has that dropped off in the quality of food at all?
No, I think you guys both do pretty good. I think honestly, if you guys hadn't told me that you switched cooking, I probably wouldn't have noticed that much. I would have just been like, oh, there aren't 2 sides.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny story.
Yeah.
For our listeners, my wife and I switched cooking duties at some point, and some chores that were stressful for me were not as stressful for her, and vice versa. So we switched, and I made a meal one day where it was basically just the meat and maybe a side item or something. And my wife and I got in a discussion about whether that was a meal or a snack, because she was raised that you needed at least 3 different food groups for it to be a meal. And I said, well, enjoy your snack. So what are some of your dreams for growing up? Or not growing up, but when you get older, what are some of your dreams that you'd like to do?
That I'd like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean like job-wise or just life in general?
However you choose to answer it.
Honestly, I'd like to have a nice house. Like, not, maybe about our house. And I'd like to get married at some point in my life. And maybe have a couple of kids, whether they be my, like, own from my own blood or adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still trying to figure out what I'd want for a job, but I know that whatever I'm going to do, I want it to be something that I'd enjoy doing, at least a little bit.
So not mowing?
Not mowing.
Okay.
And at some point, I want to travel the world a little bit.
Like the whole world or Oklahoma?
Not the whole world, but a lot of the world.
Okay. What are things that you do really well?
Really well? Math. I think I do math really well.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever again, if I'm actually paying attention to something, I think that I can answer questions about it easily.
So does that mean whenever you don't answer easily, you're not paying attention?
Well, it depends. It depends on how. I don't know. I suppose I don't pay attention to myself paying attention. That's kind of weird. I think I'm pretty good at listening to my friends because honestly, I feel like I could listen to my friends talk all the time. Because and I don't mind if I don't talk for a little bit because I'm around my friends and I like hearing what they say, and if I can talk, and they want me to talk to or something, I'll talk with them. And there are other times that I'm the one who's talking more, and I feel a little worried because they're not talking as much. So I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want to say anything?" And she's just like, "No, I'm fine." And
So one of the things that you mentioned earlier is, like, if you're interested in the Wicked musical, there's a fandom for that. And you've kind of become exposed to musicals a little bit more over the past year as a whole. Not that you hadn't heard of it before, but what are some musicals that you really enjoy?
Hamilton. I just love the songs and how they choreographed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, what's that one song that the sisters sang? Angelica sang.
Helpless?
No, that was Eliza.
Okay.
But whenever they turned back time and she was like, yeah. And I think it was Satisfied or something. Anyways, I also really liked, Be More Chill. That's an interesting. It's an interesting musical.
Be More Chill?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of this one.
It's a really. It takes place during modern times, and it's a kid in high school who just want. Who's not. He's basically a loser. And and he has basically only his best friend Michael. And he has a crush on a girl, and he wants to be cooler. He doesn't want to be the coolest, but he wants to be cooler. And then all of a sudden, he's approached by a kid named Rich, who is popular, and he says, "If you want to be popular, you need to take this pill called Squip." And it came from Japan was a whole song. There's like a whole song about how it basically came from Japan, and you should take it to be more chill. And a lot of stuff happens, and I don't really want to spoil it.
Okay. Where did you come across this?
It was whenever I don't know how at one point I listened to Heather's musical soundtrack, which is another musical that's wow. and then all of a sudden in my recommended in YouTube there was like things for all these different musicals, and I was like, okay.
What's a musical you'd like to see that you haven't seen yet?
I would like to see Phantom of the Opera. Because I've heard a lot about it and I know some of the things that happen in it, but I want to see what it actually is.
I'll be honest, I thought you were going to say Wicked.
What? I kind of watched it.
I watched bits and pieces, yeah.
I know what basically happens.
What would be your dream vacation?
Staycation.
Staying at home?
Yeah, I know, that's really weird.
For the last 5 months?
Not like the last 5 months.
What would be different?
I'd be at home, but like I'd also be hanging out with my friends because like I think I mean it's nice in our house, you know. You don't have to worry about getting sunburned or getting really cold, getting too cold because you can adjust the temperature. Mm-hmm. I know you can probably do that in like apartments or wherever you're staying in a hotel or anything, but it's not the same. I like sleeping in my own bed, and yeah, Disney World's nice. Yeah, there's lots of nice places in the world, but it's nice being at home, but not like this.
So I'm going to bring back an answer you said a minute ago that you'd like to travel the world.
Yeah, but not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. How soon?
After high school or college.
Okay. All of Nobody's a Nobody podcast. Which episodes or people or music or anything have stood out to you the most from your perspective?
Jarvix's. I just really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think part of it was because like there were lots of music breaks.
Yes, there were.
But I still really liked it. And
our friends at Our Neighborhood Empowered, 1okc.org, have just been nominated to be one of the top Oklahoma City nonprofits by the Oklahoma City Young Professionals. In October, they will be announcing their Horizon Awards, and one does a great job of helping eliminate illiteracy in Oklahoma City. And you're able to support them. You can go to 1okc.org/giving, or you can join their coffee club. There are some different programs that will be coming up. Just try to keep up with them. You can join them on Facebook, Instagram, or just go to their website, 1okc.org. We're now coming to our circuit breaker lockdown questions. You're familiar with how all this goes, so there's not going to be any surprises, and you've had more time than most to be able to kind of figure out what your answer should be. What has been this is for my friend Amy. What has been the most influential book in your life?
Well, I'd say any of the poem books by Shel Silverstein, because I remember growing up with them kind of, and those poems were some of them were really silly, and I feel like those affected me a lot.
Okay. From my friend Amanda, if you were to leave this life tomorrow, what's the one thing you would like people to have known about you?
That I that's a good question. For the people that I care about, that I care about them too, and that I care about them, and everyone else, they don't need to know me. They don't need to know who I was. I think that it's more important for the people who care about you that you care about and everyone you love to know who you were. And if they didn't know you or didn't care enough to know about you, then why should I if I don't care about them and they don't care about me, I don't need to make myself known to them unless I wanted to. That's kind of a weird answer, isn't it?
It's your answer.
Yeah.
For my friend Rashad, if you were a tree, what kind of pizza would you eat?
Well, I don't think I'd eat anything with fruits or vegetables on it. So, no tomato sauce. An Alfredo is a cheese, which isn't a plant, right? I'm pretty sure I would have Alfredo sauce on it then, and cheese, and lots of meat.
Lots of meat?
Yes.
For my friend Mandy, how have you learned to get along so well with people who think and believe so differently than you?
Well, I honestly don't know if I have, because I don't know. I think I know people who believe a lot of different things than me. I don't think I've gotten the chance to actually get along with them or actually talk to them that much, because I like being with my friends who think a lot of similar things. But though I'd like to try it and be, if I was a friend of someone who thought a lot of different things than me, I'd like to think that I'd be friends with them. But I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry if that doesn't answer the question.
You answered the question.
Okay.
From my friend Adrian, in the spirit of Harry Carey, if you were a donut, would you eat yourself?
No, that's cannibalism.
You really wouldn't eat yourself if you were a donut?
No. It's like that one commercial. Maybe. I think maybe because of I just remembered. Whenever I was with my grandparents for a tiny bit, I remember we saw this one commercial a lot. It was that one cereal where whenever milk splashed on them, they would eat each other until there was only one left. Basically, the cannibal cereal. So possibly, Toast Crunch.
Well, unlike most of our guests, I don't necessarily want people reaching out to you that don't know you, because you're still my daughter.
Hot dog! Hot dog! Hot dog! Hot dog! Hot dog!
Hey listeners, it's Jarvix again with my hot dog song of the week. This episode, I'm featuring a wonderful singer-songwriter by the name of Isaac McClung, who recently released his long-awaited debut full-length album, The Last Wildflowers. Based out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, McClung was originally born in California and raised in Hawaii, which I believe brings a different feel to his take on folk music than what I hear from many born and raised Okies. And I do mean that in a positive way. You won't find much in the way of fiddle or harmonica here, so the comfort food relies more on the songwriting, which has gorgeously quaint melodies and thoughtful ruminations on the microcosms of life. One of the standouts from the album is lead single and title track, The Last Wildflowers, which is my pick for this episode. It's one of the more crossover-friendly tracks that probably would have gotten more traction years ago when the Lumineers and Mumford & Sons were in regular rotation on the radio, but those comparisons are more a testament to the sweet cleanliness of his vocals and the carefree feel of this song. It's not so much a comparison to the bearded hipster surge that followed, because I don't see Isaac as a trendsetter or a follower, but just a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum. That's kind of what this song is about, too. It grapples with ideas about the cards we're dealt in life, the choices we make, and the desires that are both grown within us and thrust upon us. Pretty big ideas that speak enormously to millennials making their way into the 21st century. The Last Wildflowers was recorded at Castle Row, the creme de la creme of music studios in Oklahoma, but wears its high production value in subtle ways, making sure to never overshadow the intimacy of McClung's work. I would also be remiss to not mention Kyle Reed, who seems to be the go-to studio musician for folk and country types around these parts. You can hear him on pedal steel in this track. Additionally, that's Ken Pomeroy on backing vocal harmonies. Both of these musicians are incredible solo artists in their own right, so if this is your thing, you won't be disappointed if you dig further. But for now, let's tune in to the song. From the album called The Last Wildflowers, this is The Last Wildflowers by Isaac McClung.
My mother, she told me that the world was sitting at the edge of my feet and nothing could stop me from letting my hopes and dreams run wild. But remember to love tender and keep the ones close that will make you smile. Oh, I have failed to stand up straight in a crooked world. I went down without a fight. I let storm clouds take my blue sky. I hung myself with a rope made with my own hands. I worked tirelessly to make it look pretty, but all I hope to be is a wildflower on a mountainside, and all I care to be is a wave crashing on an empty beach. But what I desperately need is to take back the best parts of me. I was born a wildflower, but I've been trying to live in the valley. Wildflower grow deep, you need no one to set you free. Grow tall and grow strong. Don't let anyone say you don't belong. Stay unique and beautiful up on the mountain where the wind blows. Keep the dirt off your petals and spit in the eyes of people who say you are nothing special. We are all the same, but that's untrue, you dirty liar. We only get one life to prove we are more than 1 in 7 billion, than 1 in 7 billion. But all I hope to be is a wildflower on a mountainside, and all I care to be is a
Thank you to Marideth McVey for being my guest this week on the episode. You are not able to contact her, but if you want to say anything to her, feel free to email me at mike.w.mcvey@gmail.com. Thank you, Jarvix, who you can find on patreon.com/MakeOklahomaWeirder, or you can just go to MakeOklahomaWeirder.com for his blog. You can find Isaac McClung at his Facebook page, Isaac McClung Music. Thank you so much, listener, for listening. It is a true pleasure to get to be able to share my thoughts with you each week. We have a couple exciting episodes coming up over the rest of this month. I cannot wait. But until next time, remember that nobody's a nobody, and we'll see you then.